Welcome. I'm Avi Loeb. For decades, my work has been to stare into the vast darkness of the cosmos and ask the hard questions. We typically search for comets, for distant planets. But every so often, something looks back. Today, we are not talking about an ordinary comet. Red flag, the Atlas data is locked. Yes, the amateur observers are buzzing. Kang Sang, over at the LOL Observatory, just snagged a new image of Comet Atlas on November 2nd. There it is, a faint glow in the morning sky. But that isn't the story, that's just the distraction. The real story, the image that has the entire astrophysics community and even policymakers in Washington, D.C. concerned, was taken 1 month prior. Here's the data. On October 3rd, 2025, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, while orbiting Mars, had a perfect alignment. Atlas skimmed past at a distance of just 27 million kilometers. At that range, the high-rise camera on MRO wouldn't just capture a fuzzy dot. It could see surface features. It could resolve the nucleus of the comet with a level of detail no Earth-based telescope could possibly match. This would have been the single highest resolution image of an interstellar comet humanity has ever captured. So, where is it? The data was reportedly collected between October 2nd and 3rd. And ever since, a crucial portion of this archive has been locked or inaccessible. Let me be very clear. As a scientist, we do not use the term locked for astronomical data. We have an embargo for calibration. We hold for publication. Inaccessible is the language used when intelligence agencies find something they do not want you to see. Why the cover-up? A comet is just ice and rock. A primitive remnant of the early solar system. Why the national security level secrecy over a dirty snowball? This silence only amplifies one disturbing possibility. What MRO saw on October 3rd was not a comet. What did they see in that cloud of dust and gas? An unnatural shape? An unexplained thermal emission? They are withholding critical data that could guide our observations right now before this object leaves our solar system forever. They are wasting our precious time. And the question we must ask is, why? This is no longer normal science. This is an unfolding mystery. We are at the forefront of a potential discovery that could change everything. What I am about to present is not what you will hear on the mainstream channels. If you want to know what is really hidden in MRO's locked data and what is really moving through the shadows of our solar system, like and subscribe. Together we will peel the truth from the universe's layers of secrecy. Last week, we talked about a mystery, critical data on the Atlas object captured by the MRO has been locked. This week, the story has shifted from scientific secrecy to a media circus. And this is where things become truly disturbing for a scientist. The theater of distraction. Consider the facts. We have two groups asking for the data, scientists and the Congressional Office. They send formal legal requests demanding access to the high-resolution MRO images to do their jobs. The response? Near total silence. A bureaucratic wall. Kim Kardashian, she asks about Atlas on Twitter. NASA's response? Near immediate. A concise, reassuring message. No aliens, no threat. Do you see the problem here? When a science agency prioritizes responding to a social media celebrity over its scientific colleagues and elected legislators, they are no longer doing science. They are doing PR crisis management. They are trying to control the narrative. They created an informational vacuum by withholding the data, and now they are panic-filling that void with meaningless platitudes instead of actual evidence. This erodes trust. It paralyzes the process of independent verification, which is the backbone of all scientific progress. If Atlas is just a boring comet, release the data and let us, the scientific community, confirm it. Their silence, combined with this placating PR campaign, confirms only one thing. They are hiding something. Musk's Iron Rock. Now, let's talk about Elon Musk's recent comment. He noted that some natural celestial bodies can be rich in iron and nickel. He's absolutely correct. We call them M-type asteroids. They are the metallic cores of ancient shattered planetesimals. It's a perfectly natural, plausible explanation. And it is exactly what NASA wants you to believe. But that comment, while technically true, overlooks one critically important detail. A detail that is clearly at the heart of the locked MRO data. The data you sent me was clear. That observation misses a critical detail that Atlas, this is the entire point. Whether it's iron and nickel isn't the issue. The issue is what else is coming with it. The whispers I'm hearing from the space intelligence community, the things not being officially published, suggest that missing critical detail is, wait, I've just received the preliminary analysis of its spectra. Send me the next data block. There appears to be a massive anomaly in this object's composition that the iron-nickel asteroid explanation simply cannot account for. We left off on Elon Musk's comment that Atlas might just be an iron and nickel-rich asteroid. A reasonable, safe explanation, but that is the critically missing detail I was talking about. The preliminary spectral data, the data they don't want to release, has just been leaked, and it turns that explanation completely upside down. The industrial fingerprint, the new data shows something that shakes the foundations of astrophysics. The nickel ratio is far higher than the iron. Let me be clear about what this means. In the cosmos, iron and nickel are brothers. They are born together in the nuclear forges of dying stars, supernovae. When they condense into metallic asteroids, they always stay together, with iron being overwhelmingly dominant. Earth's core is iron-nickel. Every metallic meteorite we have ever analyzed is iron-nickel. You almost never find high-purity nickel or nickel in a dominant ratio over iron in nature. To do that, you need industry. To separate nickel from iron on a massive scale, you need processes the universe does not do on its own. Metallurgy, smelting and refining ore at extreme temperatures, electrolysis, using powerful electric currents to separate metals at a molecular level, chemical separation. Using complex solvents, simply put, nature makes iron-nickel ore. Technology makes nickel-rich alloys. What we are seeing doesn't look like geology, it looks like metallurgy. Young object. This data also tells us a second crucial thing, its origin and its age. Heavy elements like iron and nickel did not exist at the Big Bang. They are created what we call metallicity inside later generations of stars. The fact that Atlas has such a high metal content means it is not some ancient relic from the dawn of the universe. It is cosmically young material. It was formed from the ashes of stars that lived and died. This rules out the possibility that it is some bizarre primordial object. But it is perfectly consistent with the other hypotheses. A civilization capable of interstellar travel and large-scale metallurgy could not have evolved in an early metal-poor universe. They would require an environment rich in heavy elements, just like the one that produced this object. Let's put the pieces together. The government is hiding the data. They are running a public relations campaign of reassurance, no aliens, while ignoring scientists. And now we know why. The spectral data shows unmistakable signs of advanced industrial processing. The Comet explanation is dead. Musk's asteroid explanation is dead. We are left facing a staggering possibility. Atlas is not a rock. It is a processed alloy. The question is no longer, what is it? The question is now, what is it part of? Let's look at this soberly. We are now facing two distinct anomalous data sets regarding Atlas, and both defy what we expect from a natural object. Anomaly Hashon. The composition, what it's made of. As we analyzed from the spectral data, this object has an unnatural high nickel to iron ratio. This is critical data because in nature, iron and nickel are always bound together, with iron dominating. This inverted ratio is a powerful signature of advanced industrial metallurgy. Anomaly H2, the motion, how it's moving. And now we have the second critical piece of data, non-gravitational acceleration. This means Atlas is speeding up. There is some thrust, some force acting on it. Other than the pull of the Sunday, the lazy comet hypothesis debunked, instantly the mainstream scientific community will jump to their favorite comfort blanket explanation. It's a comet. Outgassing is acting like a small rocket thruster. This is how they tried to explain Oumuamua. But science isn't about comfort. Science is about the numbers. And here are the numbers coming from your own data. To produce the thrust we are observing, the laws of momentum conservation state that Atlas would have to be ejecting a massive amount of material. Specifically, it would need to have lost about one-sixth of its total mass in the past few weeks. Let me emphasize this. This isn't a few wisps of steam. This is billions of tons of matter vaporizing, creating a massive, brilliant, visible debris cloud. And here is the kicker, the most critical data point. So far, post-perihelion images show nothing. No debris cloud, no brilliant cometary tail commensurate with such a massive eruption, just the object silently accelerating in the dark. When the impossible is eliminated, the comet hypothesis fails. We must eliminate it. So what remains? We have an object that is made of an industrial alloy, evidenced by the high nickel over iron ratio, accelerating, evidenced by non-gravitational acceleration, without ejecting any detectable mass. How can an object be pushed without a rocket engine? There is only one known physical mechanism that can do this, solar radiation pressure. Sunlight itself has momentum. It pushes things, but to be effectively pushed by sunlight, you cannot be a potato-shaped rock. You need to be extremely thin and have a large surface area relative to your mass. In other words, you need to be shaped like a sail. This is no longer speculation. This is logical deduction from the evidence. The composition data, the high nickel over iron ratio, tells us it was built. The acceleration data, the fact it's speeding up without mass loss, tells us how it was designed to move. We now understand why they are hiding the MRO data. That high-resolution photograph from October 3rd didn't just show a rock. It very likely showed the shape of this object. We are not looking at a comet. We are looking at a piece of technology, a solar sail. The question now is, where did it come from and why is it here? And now we have confirmation. The silence from our telescopes is the damning evidence. Your new data confirms that the images do not show a debris cloud compatible with that scale of mass loss. The comet hypothesis has officially collapsed. This fundamental contradiction between the observed thrust and the total lack of outgassing is precisely why the scientific community is polarizing. As your data makes clear, we are at a fork in the road. Either this is an exotic natural process, or this is active propulsion. An exotic natural process is the lifeline for conservative thinking. It's the way of saying, maybe it's a weird kind of comet we've never seen. But that fails to explain the previous data, the high nickel over iron ratio, the signature of metallurgy. The second hypothesis, active propulsion, is the only one that fits all the evidence. It explains the alloyed composition, it was manufactured. It explains the non-gravitational acceleration without mass loss. It was designed to move like a solar sail. The race for the truth. We are running out of time. An intensive observation campaign is being organized. This is the good news. The scientific community is mobilizing. Mark your calendars, December 19th, 2025. That is Atlas's closest approach to Earth. The entire window from late November through January is our best chance. We will be pointing every telescope on Earth at it. What are we looking for? We are testing the hypothesis. We are hunting for that non-existent debris cloud, or for tiny jets, or trying to reconfirm that nickel spectrum. But there is a hard truth. This race may have already been decided. The most critical data is already in our hands, or rather, it's locked away on a NASA server. Those are the images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, taken on October 3rd. Why are we struggling to find jets from Earth when MRO could have seen them up close? Why are we guessing at its shape when your data explicitly states MRO could provide direct information on the morphology? Morphology is a scientific word for shape. They are hiding its shape. Science needs that data now. Uncompromised by politics. I could not have said it better myself. As the data makes clear, we are not just looking at an anomaly, we are looking at an unprecedented pattern. In science, one anomalous data point is a curiosity, 2 is a coincidence, but 3 or more, that is a pattern. And here we have a pattern of impossibilities. Let's look at these 2 new data points. 1, the orbit. The bullet hits the target. This is the first point, and it is statistical. A retrograde orbit, but aligned with the ecliptic. Let me translate this. Imagine our solar system is a spinning CD. All the planets, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, orbit on the surface of that CD, all in the same direction. This is the ecliptic plane. Interstellar objects, visitors from other stars usually don't care about our CD. They come from random directions, above the disk, below the disk, at all angles. As your data points out, flying in exactly on the flat surface of that disk within 5 degrees is an incredibly difficult shot. The odds of that happening by chance are less than 3%. But Atlas is even stranger. It's not just flying on the plane of the CD. It is going retrograde, backwards. It is driving the wrong way down a cosmic highway. And it is holding its lane perfectly. As your data states, this leaves only 2 possibilities. An extraordinary coincidence, intentional targeting of our system's planetary plane. In my 30-year career, I have learned that the universe does not often waste such extraordinary coincidences. 2, the physics, the braking engine. The second point, which took place between July and August 2025, is even more stunning: the anti-solar jet phenomenon. A normal comet is a dirty snowball. When it nears the sun, ice vaporizes and is blown away from the sun by the solar wind, forming a tail. That thrust, if any, pushes the comet away from the sunday. Atlas did the opposite. It developed a distinct jet, an anti-tail, pointing directly at the sunday. This is not cometary physics. This is basic rocketry. If you are in a car and you fire your thrusters forward in the direction you are traveling, what are you doing? You are braking. The full picture. Now, let's combine all the data we have. It is made of an industrial alloy, the high nickel over iron ratio. It has a primary debris-free propulsion system, likely a solar sail, the non-gravitational acceleration without mass loss. It precisely targeted the plane where life exists in our solar system, the retrograde orbit on the ecliptic, and now it is actively decelerating as it approaches the anti-solar jet. Natural objects do not brake. They follow Kepler's laws of gravity, accelerating as they plunge toward the sun and getting slung back out of the system. Atlas is behaving oppositely. It is fighting gravity. We are looking at a manufactured object which targeted us and is now performing a braking maneuver to do what? Enter orbit? This is why the MRO data that October 3rd picture is locked. They didn't just see a rock, they saw an object performing a controlled maneuver. This is a serious escalation. Last week, we identified the anti-solar jet as a braking engine. Now, your new data has confirmed this definitively. This is not my speculation. This is your data speaking. This behavior fundamentally contradicts comet physics. A comet is a passive object. It is acted upon by the Sunday. Its dust and gas are always pushed away. Atlas, conversely, is actively pushing back against the Sunday. The data presents us with two options: an exotic physical mechanism or active propulsion. Let me tell you as a physicist, when we see an object made of industrial nickel alloys, as the prior data indicated, performing a maneuver never recorded in observational history, exotic physical mechanism is not the scientific answer. It is an evasion. The simplest answer, Occam's razor, is that it's doing exactly what it looks like it's doing. It is using active propulsion to apply the brakes. The hyperspeed freighter, and now we have anomaly hash 3. And to me, this may be the most disturbing one. The extreme mass velocity profile, let's break these numbers down. It is massive. It has 1 million times the mass of Oumuamua and 1,000 times the mass of Borisov. And yet, it is moving faster than both. Your data provides the perfect analogy. Observing a freight train outpacing sports cars. In gravitational physics, this is next to impossible. Larger objects, by the loss of energy conservation, should move slower as they escape the gravitational well of their home star system. A freight train does not naturally move faster than a sports car, unless it has a phenomenal engine. This implies Atlas didn't just drift, it was launched. The initial energy required to propel an object 1,000 times the mass of Borisov to a higher interstellar velocity is a number I can't even begin to calculate here. It is far beyond anything our civilization can conceive of. The full picture, updated, we must stop thinking of Atlas as a rock. The evidence is pointing in only one direction. Let us summarize our new chain of logic. Material. It is made of an industrial-grade alloy, the high nickel over iron ratio. You don't build a starship out of ice. Engine. It possesses an enormous power source, strong enough to launch a freight train, 1 million x Oumuamua's mass, at sports car speeds. Navigation. It precisely targeted the plane where life exists, the ecliptic. A 3% probability event. Braking. It is now actively braking with an anti-solar jet as it arrives. This is purposeful behavior. They launch something massive at extreme velocity, aimed it directly at us, and are now decelerating upon arrival. 4. The precise planetary encounter. This is no longer a visit to the solar system. This is a specific visit. Using the word comet to describe Atlas is now like calling an aircraft carrier a floating rock. It is absurd, and it conceals the truth. Let us review the evidence systematically. 4. Mission planning. The fourth anomaly is its trajectory. This is not a random flight path. It is a coordinated sequence. It has performed flybys of Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. But the most brilliant or terrifying part is this. It timed its perihelion passage to coincide with solar conjunction. It deliberately used the sun as a shield, rendering it unobservable from Earth at the precise moment it was closest to us. This is a stealth approach. As the data clearly states, such precision resembles mission planning more than a random gravitational encounter. To achieve an arrival time accurate to within a few days, after a journey of millennia, is a feat of navigation we can only dream of. 5. The physical evidence, the final nail. And if anyone is still clinging to the comet hypothesis, anomaly hash 5 is the final nail in that coffin. We have 2 physical data points. Metallurgy. The spectra show a significantly higher nickel to iron ratio than anything natural, resembling the ratios in terrestrial industrial alloys. composition. It has only 4% water content. A comet, by definition, is a dirty snowball. A comet without water is like a human without blood. An object with 4% water, made of industrial alloys, is not a comet. It is a machine. This also confirms that the anti-solar jet, the braking engine, must be artificial propulsion, as it cannot be vaporizing ice. 6. The surface, an artificial skin. Now we come to anomaly hash 6, the one we've been waiting for. It wasn't waste heat as I predicted, but something even more revealing: unprecedented optical polarization. This is about how it reflects light. Natural objects, rocks, dust, scatter light chaotically. Atlas does not. It shows extreme negative polarization, a signature never observed in any other comet. The data explicitly states this indicates a surface material or structure fundamentally different, potentially artificial surfaces. So now we know it's made of an industrial alloy, data 5, and covered in some kind of artificial skin, data 6. 7. The return address, the wow, signal, and finally anomaly hash 7, the one that connects everything. The directional convergence with the wow signal. Atlas originates from a patch of sky within 9 degrees of the 1977. Wow. Signal the strongest candidate for an extraterrestrial communication we have ever recorded. Step back. Here is the full picture: a machine nickel alloy, 4% water, artificial surface, was launched with enormous energy, freight train mass, sports car speed, flew a planned, stealthy route, solar conjunction, actively braked, anti-solar jet, upon arrival, and it came from the exact region we received a potential alien radio signal from 50 years ago. We must accept the truth, this data is screaming. This is not a random visit. This is a pre-announced arrival. 8. The engine signature, the blue light. The 8th anomaly is anomalous photometric evolution. Let's analyze this. Near the Sun, Atlas brightened beyond any known comet. Simultaneously, it became bluer than our own Sunday. A natural comet, when heated, releases dust. Dust reflects red light. The comet should get redder. Atlas got bluer. In physics, a blue shift, when brightening like this, does not mean reflection. It means energy emission. The object is generating its own hot blue light. This is the thermal signature I've been looking for. It's not just infrared. It is glowing visibly hot. This is precisely what you would expect from an advanced propulsion system or a high-energy radiator in operation, not from sublimating ice. It isn't reflecting sunlight, it is competing with it. 9. The ALMA paradox. The smoking gun, and now anomaly hash 9. This is the end of the argument. The mass loss divided by acceleration paradox. This new data from the ALMA radio telescope, one of our most sensitive observatories, confirms two things. Definitively, Atlas is experiencing non-gravitational acceleration. To do so, per rocket divided by comet physics, it should have lost at least 15% of its total mass over 5 billion tons of material. Such an eruption would create a massive, easily detectable debris cloud, and the concluding line. However, no such cloud was observed despite intensive monitoring. There it is. We have a fundamental physics problem. We have an object that violates the law of conservation of momentum if we assume it is a comet. It is accelerating. ALMA confirms it is not losing mass. The lack of a cloud confirms. The comet hypothesis is officially unequivocally dead. It has been falsified by the data. Conclusion: the only hypothesis remaining. So, what are we left with? Let us abandon the assumption that it is a rock. Let us follow the data. We have an object accelerating without mass loss. How? The only known mechanism is radiation pressure, a solar sail. Now, look at all the evidence again. It is made of an industrial nickel alloy, anomaly 5. It is covered in an artificial surface, anomaly 6. It is steering and braking, anomalies 2 and 4. Its engine divided by radiator is glowing blue, anomaly 8. It is being propelled without a rocket engine, anomaly 9. And it came from the wow signal region, anomaly 7. The fundamental physics problem vanishes the moment you accept the most obvious answer. Atlas is a massive, high-tech light sail. The final line in your data is my philosophy. Science advances on data, and data must flow. The data is here. It is screaming the answer. The only question left is whether the scientific community has the courage to listen. We began this journey with a leaked image from Mars orbit and a strange information lockdown NASA answering celebrities like Kim Kardashian while ignoring scientists and the cryptic technical comments from figures like Elon Musk. Now, we are at a scientific crossroads. Atlas has accumulated a list of properties that defy every conventional explanation, from counterintuitive jets, which we identified as braking engines, to metal-rich composition, the high nickel over iron, that seems to demand industrial processing. As this data makes clear, the core question is, are we observing an unknown natural phenomenon or something far more disturbing? For my entire career, I've believed that science advances on data, and data must flow freely. The truth is out there. It is sitting in the locked high-resolution images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO. The urgency to access that data unhindered has never been greater. But now we don't have to wait for them. We have one final test. In the coming weeks, we will know. As Atlas makes its closest approach on December 19th, every telescope on Earth will be watching. The verdict is simple. Either we find the massive 5 billion ton debris cloud that the ALMA paradox, anomaly 9, demands to explain its acceleration, or we find nothing. If we find nothing, the Comet hypothesis is dead, and we will be forced to re-examine our fundamental assumptions. Science is ready for the truth, provided the data flows publicly. Comment and share your questions. Watch closely. This outcome could redefine what we know about interstellar visitors.